Papa Joe. Today we have our first sponsor guest.
Yes, I am Miss Keane. I am the junior class sponsor and the sophomore class sponsor, but today I'm talking about junior class.
Wonderful. You also sponsor the prom.
I
correct?
do. That's a junior class sponsor is in charge of prom. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining me today.
Mhm.
Why did you want to become the sponsor for the junior and sophomore class?
I like to be involved in ways beyond just academics, but we don't have any sports here that I would be qualified to coach. So for me, it's got to be through like social activities. The sophomore class sponsor is in charge of the homecoming dance, and like I said, junior is in charge of prom. So it's a way for me to interact with kids outside of school in a capacity that I'm good at. I specifically like prom because it's upperclassmen for the most part, and it's one of their last big events before they leave the high school. And I'm really good at organizing and crafting and decorating, so it's like right up my alley.
Can you describe what a typical meeting or practice looks like in your group?
Yeah, so we really only meet a couple times in the fall. Most of our meetings are going to be closer to prom in the spring. And really it's just a lot of talking, debating, researching. We're on Pinterest a lot, looking at ideas for prom, sharing ideas, sometimes debating in a respectful manner about what prom's going to look like. But yeah, it's a lot of talking and collaborating during Wildcat time.
What are your core values as a sponsor?
I think it's most important for me to have the kids see their vision play out. I try to, sometimes it's hard for me to not give my input, but I try to let them decide what they want prom to look like, and then I just help them execute that. I want it to be as special as possible for the kids. I also try to make it as affordable as possible. I know prom's a little bit more expensive than our other dances, but we're a lot cheaper than other schools in the area, and that's really important to me so that hopefully as many kids as possible have a chance to go.
How do you develop community around your sponsorship, around your group?
I would say the biggest way is fundraising. Unfortunately, we have to do a lot of fundraising for prom. This year, for example, I'm expecting our prom bill to be $20,000. So we have to, ask for a lot of help in a lot of different ways. So for us, that looks like working different athletic events, working concessions. Sometimes we put on events in the community, like a bowling fundraiser. I'd really like to do a trivia fundraiser, maybe a euchre fundraiser. A lot of community support too with different companies donating gift cards or other materials that we need. So yeah, it's definitely a group effort to make prom happen.
All right. What approaches do you take when in group meetings, they just kind of stagger or nothing really happens or they don't go anywhere?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest problem we face as a prom committee is that sometimes there are very strong opinions and they are conflicting opinions, and we have a really hard time coming to a consensus on what we want to do. So the best way for me to manage that is just to let everyone have their say, give everyone an opportunity to speak and share their thoughts, and then I take all the notes, and then we kind of revisit. Let them sleep on it, have another meeting, talk to the wider school community besides just the kids on the committee and see what people really like. And I've been very fortunate that usually works. By the time we come back for another meeting, kids are a little bit more willing to change their minds, or maybe I'll come up with some ideas. I'll try to point out things that they're not considering. Like for example, masquerade is always a really popular prom theme, and kids, they vote for it all the time. And I've just told them, as a sponsor from the past, like in theory, they always pick masquerade, and in theory it sounds really nice, but no one ever ends up wearing a mask to the dance because it's either uncomfortable or it doesn't go with their dress or whatever. So I was like, I'm just letting you know from my perspective as a sponsor, sometimes it's not going to pan out the way you think it's going to. So I try to give my input, and then usually we're able to come to a decision, but usually everyone's pretty good about it. We don't really have too many hurt feelings that we say. I hope not.
How do you normally manage group activities, group things?
I feel like I've kind of addressed this in the last one, but just like letting everyone have their say, giving everyone a space to share their thoughts and their feelings and what they want. And then again, trying to get what appeals to the majority. So a lot of go out and talk to your classmates and find out what people want and what people like. I feel good about it as long as everybody feels like their idea was heard, we at least considered it, and, you know, we have research to support whatever decisions we go with, we feel confident that it's going to work. And yeah, everything else is, you know, icing on the cake, but those are the most important things to managing the meetings.
Right. Is there any time during the year in which your group doesn't meet or has a sort of off-season?
Yeah, so again, we definitely ramp up more as the dance approaches, but I would say there's no true off-season, especially because of how expensive prom is. I mean, we are fundraising from day one all the way through the end of the school year. It's a little less frequent, but yeah, we work hard all year long to make the money that we need.
All right. How would you personally, as the group leader, handle criticism?
It's funny that you asked that because I only get criticism after that. This is not me complaining. I love my job, but after prom, nobody ever says anything nice. The only things I ever hear are the complaints. And at first, my first couple of years, that was really hard on me, and I would take everything very personally, and I'd be so upset about it. But I kind of learned that that's just sort of the way the world works, right? Like when people don't write really reviews for good experiences online, or, you know, people go online when they have a bad experience and they complain. So that's kind of how prom works too. I don't get a lot of kids that were like, oh, I like the food, or I like the music, or I like the venue. It's just the kids that didn't like it are the outspoken ones. So I just have to let it roll off my back, and trust that we made the right decisions, and the prom committee that worked very hard, you know, and I worked very hard, and we did our best, and we're not gonna be able to please everybody, and that's just how I have to embrace it moving forward to keep my sanity.
Are there ever any parents that have complaints about what happened at prom or how prom was handled?
If there are, they don't come to me. So yeah, I'm sure that there are, but not that I know of, at least.
Right. Are there any questions that you would like to be asked that I haven't asked?
No, I was just kind of thinking about, you had one question on here about like the relationship between academics and extracurriculars, and I do sort of want to talk about that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I know that for me, I learn best and I'm most motivated when I'm happy and when I'm having fun, and I think that it's really important. This is kind of another reason why I wanted to be a sponsor. I think that that's true for kids too, that, you know, you need a reason to want to come to school, you need to be happy here, and you need to feel comfortable, and you need to have something to look forward to. And I'm happy that prom does that for kids. And I know it's not for everybody, but, you know, hopefully everybody has at least a little something here that they participate in and feel like it's, you know, it's meeting whatever need that they have. And I'm happy to be able to offer that to at least, you know, kids that enjoy dances. I'm glad to be able to fill that role.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Are there, I guess we have a bunch of time left. If we would like to go over some questions just about you as a teacher, we can do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
What made you want to become a teacher?
Oh gosh, I knew I wanted to be a teacher ever since I was little, but I thought I wanted to be a like kindergarten teacher at first. I always liked helping people, even when I was like, I liked playing teacher and I liked helping my little sister, and I always liked like being the leader and my friends. So yeah, definitely teaching was for sure going to be it. I thought kindergarten teaching, so I was like, oh, little kids are really cute, but you need a lot of patience to work with little kids. So as I got older, I always loved reading and writing, and a lot of that was because I had great English teachers, and actually my favorite teacher in high school was my sophomore and junior math teacher, which like, I can't do math, so I don't know how that worked out, but he was just such a good teacher and made me feel like I could do math even though I couldn't. And it had such like a big impact on me that I thought, oh my gosh, if I could do this even for like one kid with my life, like that would be a life well spent. And for me, English, I mean, again, because I love reading and I love writing, I thought that was like the best fit for me. But yeah, it's always been teaching for me ever since I was a little kid.
How do you normally structure your classes in the way that you think best?
So with our 85-minute periods, I mean, that is definitely a challenging task to keep everyone engaged the whole time. I try to have a variety of things for us to do. Sometimes I'm kind of on like maybe the worst end of that, with maybe sometimes I overplan, I have too many things that I want to accomplish. But I just feel like with 85 minutes, like we have to keep it moving, we have to do different things. Otherwise, that period just drags. I mean, for me too, for the teachers too, 85 minutes is a long time. So whatever it is we're doing that day, I try to structure it in small blocks so that way when like you're starting to lose steam on one thing, then we're on to something else. I like to do a little bit of a mix of like me talking and then students working too, so that it's not just you sitting and listening the whole time and you get some like hands-on practice. And I would say no matter what the unit is that we're in, like that's like the basics, the core structure to what my class would look like on a day-to-day basis.
All right. Are there any questions that you would like to be asked about teaching?
No, I can't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. I don't know, I really like it here and I really like Wilmington and I think we have a good, I like the small school environment. It kind of feels like a family and like again, I've had some kids for 3 years in a row now and it's such a unique experience, like most high school teachers don't get that. So I feel really lucky to be working here.
All right. And I think that concludes our first club sponsorship interview. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.